there, but if this stays on course the way it's going, this is going to move into the Macon area here, into Bibb County here in just a little bit. So this is going from Crawford straight into Bibb. Again, nothing confirmed, nothing on the ground confirmed. This is for sure a tornado. And we have seen with all of these storms, even the ones that are going on up here toward the Atlanta area, a couple of reports of some downed trees in a couple of spots, but nothing major as far as damage is concerned. These are usually what we've been seeing today. They're brief spin-ups. We take them very seriously. They haven't been very large, and they haven't kept that rotation for very long. So if they touch down at all, it may just be for a second here or there. But let's go ahead and get in that safe space anyway, as you're in Crawford into Bibb County. That is the only warning that we have now. Again, that goes until 6:45, and that is with this part right here that is in Crawford County, north of Roberta, heading in like this. So there's a little bit of an east-northeast movement, but that will take it pretty much, if it holds, whether or not it's severe or not, the storm itself will roll right through Bibb County here in just a little bit. Now, you already are seeing rain, lightning, and all that going on in West Bibb. We'll see if that helps out a little bit, take some of the punch out of this one back here to the back. Sometimes that'll happen. We go ahead and start turning the atmosphere over here in Bibb County so that by the time this gets in, it just doesn't have quite the same oomph that it did. So we'll see if that plays out. I'm also waiting to see if this whole system is going to start to line up a little bit more into a squall line instead of these little individual cells and clusters that tend to want to rotate. It is going a little more linear as you go up toward the north here, but not so much just yet for our area of this. So again, it is for Crawford and Bibb, technically until 6:45 is the warning. And nothing as far as any sort of confirmation of anything on the ground. It is radar indicated. So centermost room of the house, basement if you have one, away from windows, wait it out. This thing will move on through, and we'll still have some rain off and on as we go through tonight. So now that we covered the warning, I do want to show you how things will look as we go through tonight. First of all, the severe threat map has been greatest out west here in Alabama, where a level 3 dropping down to a level 2, which includes where we're seeing the storms right now. And then the hope is that some of these will weaken down as they come across into this level 1. Now, we do have another round tomorrow morning that'll be coming in along the actual cold front. We're on a level 2 now for that. Yesterday, it was all green for a level 1, a low in level 1. But we just have to watch and see how much we can turn the atmosphere over tonight. So in other words, if we're sitting at a kitchen table and we have all the ingredients to make this cake, and you're going to make this cake twice, if the first chef comes in and takes 2/3 of those ingredients out, you're not making a cake the next day. So if we can get a lot of this stuff turned over and washed out, then that threat tomorrow morning would not be as big of a deal, but something we're going to watch. I think flooding is going to be a problem, though, tonight as we get both of these lines through. All right, so here's a look at tonight. Notice how it shows as we go on through the evening time, showing most of it in our northern counties, but we are starting to see stuff in our southern counties. So this model not totally on what's going on right now, but the idea is there that we'll continue as we go off and on through the overnight. And then this would be that second round tomorrow morning, maybe just rain with a couple of rumbles. That's what I'm hoping. It'll be in the earlier part of the day. If we can, again, turn some of this stuff over out there and get some of the ingredients out as far as the instability, that icky spring feeling when you walk outside right now, the muggy stuff, we can get some of that cleared out. That'd be great. There's lunchtime tomorrow, early afternoon, and then everything starts to walk away toward the east. So let's dig back in. Every once in a while I go around and do a check on velocity, see what's going on with it. Again, this is the only warning that we have right now, and it's for Crawford into Bibb. It's this part right here. So again, if you're in the Macon area and you're hearing thunder and you have rain, none of what is in Bibb County right now is severe. So it may be flashing outside and all that stuff. The only part is here in Crawford County. Roberta, this is staying to your north. This is threading the needle, as I said earlier, between there and Culloden. So this is going to be coming across like this, kind of Lizella, Lake Tobosoffke area, and then kind of on into midtown of Macon here as it comes across, if it stays doing what it's doing. Let's see, somebody just said something in the chat. Let's check in. That is report of damage in Polk County earlier. So again, a lot of storms rolling up and down with this whole system. Again, the wording is tornado possible. It is not a tornado warning. I can't hear, Frank, from here. Are the sirens even going? I can't tell that they are. This is not technically a tornado warning. it's just a thing the Weather Service started doing in the past few years, to where there's, instead of just a sharp cutoff of this is a severe thunderstorm warning, this is a tornado warning, and then people were not taking the severe thunderstorm warnings, the bigger ones, seriously enough. If there was a rotation there, they say, that's not a red polygon, that's not a tornado warning. So now you start getting severe thunderstorm warnings with tornado possible. It's kind of an upgrade to the verbiage over the past few years. So again, this is not a solid tornado warning. All right, so let's see. Let me go back up to, let's see if we can see anything. I'm guessing probably not here on the Skycam. Looks pretty boring to me. Occasionally we'll have a little flash of lightning out there. I'm hearing some thunder here at the station. Let's go back to velocity mode and see what we can find or not find. There is a look at velocity there. Let me go over to this other one. Just not showing up much. Right in there you can see a little bit. So again, it's going to be in this area. This is not the tightest couplet I've ever seen. So just looking at it, and you've probably heard me say this 1,000 times if you watched our coverage over the years, it's not one that is screaming, hey, look at me, I'm a tornado. But it is something that is broadly rotating from time to time. And all of these cells, I'm talking about this whole thing, let me go back big here on the screen, that goes back into Alabama. Every one of these guys have rotated from time to time. I could look at velocity right now down there, and every one of them's got some little spin to them. So they're not large, they're kind of brief, and they're not always rotating. They'll kind of stop for a little bit and broaden out and come back. So again, this is, it's that low-end severe threat we were talking about, but it's kind of annoying because there's just a bunch of them kind of scattered around, and sometimes they'll want to spin up a little bit. And then you'll look back at a scan later and it's not there. All in all, when I look at this, it is not overly impressive. It just says, oh, wow. But we still take it seriously, though, as far as like safe space in the house. Where is that spot? Is it the basement, the centermost room of the house? Still do all those things that you would normally do. I'm just trying to, calm some of the nerves out there, because I know I hear from folks from time to time, and rightly so. I mean, this stuff can freak you out, as it's coming through. But it's mainly a rainmaker with rumbles of thunder and some gusty winds. You're still going to have some strong winds out there. As far as the rotation, it's just not certain that any of that has been reaching the ground right there. And you can kind of see a notch there on the last scan right in here, kind of the inflow. So that's, again, tracking in this general direction. Still in Crawford County for now, heading more into Bibb, but it's not a really fast mover. It's going at, from last check, 25 miles per hour. Looking at some other stuff in the chat room from, as we've been going through the past couple hours, parts of west central, northwest Georgia, and then I'm looking now here at Polk County, some other spots here, trees down. Generally what we've been seeing with some of these storms is trees down reported on some roadways in a couple of spots. I've not seen anything bigger than that. So yes, impressive storms in that we haven't seen these in a while, but we have definitely seen worse than this. So let's just kind of treat it as it's not springtime yet, but we start thinking about where we would go, what we would do, your family plan, all that sort of thing. And just get there, take the iPad, do whatever. That way, in case you lost power or something, you could still keep an eye on us here, because we're streaming on all of our platforms. You can get us on YouTube, you can get us all these places. So even if you lost everything else, you can still do that. And take another one down there. Everybody's got like 800 devices now. That way the kids have something to do until this moves on. Let's see. This is Coweta County. That storm earlier, they keep talking about trees down there. So that's generally been the thing with all of these. Let's move the map over. I want to take this one actually right here. And I'm going to move this one so you see me just move some things around right here until I'm going to save some of these spots so we can get back to them quickly. Okay, rotation almost impossible to find with this thing now. And as I go back, in time, you can see at times off to the left of your screen there's been a little bit of a couplet there, but right now kind of washed out. Let's see, what am I hearing here? Still talking about other parts of the state, so still no word. Once again, severe thunderstorm warning, not a tornado warning. So there's where things kind of get muddy, because it's kind of in that crossover. Let's go on down. If you're in, we have folks calling in from time to time around America, Sumter County. You can see, just to show you that this stuff goes on down toward the south and west, more severe thunderstorm warnings, and nearly every one of them have tornado possible in the wording. I do want to show you, I talked about it earlier, let me just give you an idea back in Alabama here. Let's just go back over here. May not be able to see it with this. You should be able to. All right, so watch some of these storms. Look at how these have been going today. This is over the past hour or so. This is the kind of stuff we're talking about today. Just brief spin-ups here. They don't last long, and not all of these have even had warnings today. There was a tornado warning with this one a little while ago, but then it'll go from bright green and red, it kind of goes down a little bit and comes back up. And so it's that whole thing of here's one, and then that one kind of falls down a little bit, and we go into another one. So I think that's primarily what we're going to see if we get any more, type stuff like this. All right, there is a doorbell sound, which means they mentioned the word tornado, and that is not for our area. Chattahoochee, Marion, Muskogee counties there. Troup County there. All right, so we're getting information on all these different counties. Because, as I said, this is a widespread event. It stretches all the way up. Weather Service in Peachtree City is busy tonight with all this coming across. And notice, if you watched yesterday, I was showing that we're probably going to see things starting to kind of line up into more of a squall line. We haven't seen that so much here. We are seeing it much more toward the north here, which would put it more straight line winds as opposed to some of this rotation we're seeing on the southern. On the southern flank of this stuff is usually we're going to get these little independent renegade cells that are going to be the culprits that are going to want to spin a little bit. Yes, Taylor. Okay, sounds good. All right, we're just doing some inside baseball there, guys, talking about our plan for on air. Coming up at 6:30, in the event that we don't have a tornado warning on the screen, we will go on over to CBS Evening News, but we will still be streaming on our app, on YouTube, Facebook Live, all the things that are out there. If you can find us there, that's where we're going to be, and we'll continue with that as we go on through tonight. And then, of course, if we have to come back on air or anything like that, we will for actual tornado warnings. All right, so let's do a check again of velocity. There's storm relative velocity. We go to base velocity here. Still not seeing much. And if anything were to be there, it would be generally in this area, eventually leaving Crawford, heading on into Bibb. So this is that same storm, though, as I mentioned, has had a history of plopping down a tornado warning here or there and rotating a little bit. And I can walk you back and we get on over toward this radar. You can see it. So as you go forward from here, notice here in the screen, and then as we drag the timeline forward, you can see it right here as we go on across. So it's had times where it has been spinning for a little bit. Again, still, even with that, no confirmation that anything was ever on the ground. It's radar indicated. Tornado watch again with all the lines on here, it's hard to tell, but this basically west of 75 is in the tornado watch technically until 9 o'clock. Now we'll see what happens if these storms continue with these little brief rotations here for a little bit. If the National Weather Service wants to drag another watch over here, I haven't seen indications they're going to do that just yet. But some of these storms are going to eventually start to outrun these watch boxes here. You can already see where they've been trimming back part of this tornado watch off toward the north and west. So again, the only warning, which technically goes until 6:45, is the severe thunderstorm warning for Crawford into Bibb. Again, the wording is tornado possible. We have to also watch these other cells back toward the west here, because if any of these guys decide to keep running the way they are, then you got coming into some of these same places again. But even with those, very few actual tornado warnings have I seen. It's been mainly severe thunderstorm warning with tornado possible. But we still take it seriously, do all the things you would do as if this were a red polygon instead of yellow. I know you're seeing a red line going, well, I do see red. Well, that's the watch box. How about we take that off? That'll make things a little easier for us. So there, that way we can see just the yellow, just the severe thunderstorm warning, and it's moving again east at around 25, a little bit of east-northeast, because I think the bulk of it's right here. So it's going to be mainly kind of, if the big bulk of whatever's there would be Lake Tobosoffke, kind of heading more into North Bibb, I think, as far as the track of anything that could. Maybe it never rotates again. Right now, the rotation is very hard to find. Let me check the chat with the remaining seconds here on air. I thought I heard something. Talking about flooding problems in some parts of the state as well. Again, this will be this going on for tonight, and then a second round tomorrow morning coming through, and we'll continue to follow that as we go on through tonight. And We'll be here all night as well. So stick with us. We'll stick with you. All right, we're still streaming from what I know, as we have left television now and we are on all of our streaming platforms here. I don't have the ability like I do sometimes when we're doing this to look at questions and answer that kind of thing right now. So what we're doing is just covering this storm here. And I know there's going to be a lot, normally when we have these situations, there are a lot of questions about, well, what about this county, what about this city? And generally, all of central Georgia, especially the western half, for now, it's actually going to spread on toward the east, has the potential for at least some strong thunderstorms, maybe some severe weather, maybe some gusty winds. Can't rule out a tornado, but not planning on that being the widespread thing where we're looking at some massive tornado outbreak with this. We may have some brief spin-ups for a little bit, which is what we've been seeing in Crawford County, heading on into Bibb County here now, but nothing confirmed. Now, there have been parts of the state, Coweta County, Polk County, places like that. And then, of course, these storms, they're not just here, they're all the way up, where trees have been down in some spots, ponding on roadways, 3 or 4 inches of water on the roads in some of these spots. Just so much rain coming down. So there's not just this round tonight. Again, there will be another round tomorrow morning. The good news is the more this keeps coming through and turning the atmosphere over and washing things out, which the models were not showing so much of this happening. It was showing things kind of falling apart and a whole big chunk of our area not seeing much in the way of rain tonight. If we can get more rain, get these storms to come on through and really take a lot of the instability out of the atmosphere, that lessens the likelihood of seeing severe weather on that second round tomorrow morning. So it's not fun when we're going through it now, but it could help us in the morning if we can continue to get more of this through. I really don't want too many areas that are left untouched tonight. We'd rather for it to kind of come on in and do its thing to help us out with that morning round. Again, this warning goes until 6:45, and it's moving east-northeast at 25. Let's see. Yeah, I'm just looking at different parts of the state, some of the chat room stuff that's coming in. All right, so here's future view. Kind of picks up on what we're doing here. Let's go forward as we go on through the next couple hours. Notice how this mainly keeps it in the northern half of our area. I think we're still going to see stuff farther south because we're already seeing it now down here in some of these southern counties. So hopefully everybody, I know it sounds weird. Why would you hope for that and for thunderstorms to come through? Again, it would help us in lessening the severe likelihood for tomorrow morning's round. I'm going to get to tomorrow morning. There's overnight tonight, maybe some scattered showers, maybe a rumble. Here would be round 2, 8, 9 o'clock in the morning. Now, I've looked at this on some other model runs from yesterday, and it was a more stout red line. It was a really thick squall line coming through. At least this is somewhat broken as we head toward mid-morning. And this is around lunchtime to early afternoon tomorrow. Once we get in this time of day with the heat of the day, I don't think we're going to see any breaks in the clouds, but if we do, that would further destabilize our eastern and southeastern counties, which would make that a spot we would want to watch for Wednesday afternoon. Okay, let's go on up back to the radar again. Check the, first let me check the chat room. I thought I heard somebody talking in there. Yep. Still seeing some rotation with the cell in northern Crawford County north of Sandy Point, moving into western Bibb County in the next few minutes. Severe thunderstorm warning will continue. So again, that is until 6:45, so a little over 10 minutes. And again, if nothing else, a lot of heavy rain leaving Crawford County. That's in Crawford County now, heading in to Bibb County. And we see a little bit of a dimple there. If you're going to find it, it's right there, running again, about to cross over into Bibb County here a little bit between Lizella and Lake Tobosaki here. So that would be kind of going in this general direction. Eventually Lake Wildwood, northern part of 475, all of that. Let's go to the base velocity, see if we can find it there. Again, some rotation. We've had before, and we've had big severe weather outbreaks, tornado type outbreaks. You'll see couplets that are just bright green and bright red, and they're right next to each other. Sometimes even some yellow in there where it's just really knotted up, which means it's really feverishly spinning. That's not what we're seeing with this. So again, it is keep an eye on it, stay away from the windows, do the thing you would do, go to that safe space. centermost room of the house, away from windows. That's the easiest thing. If you have a basement, clearly, that's where you would want to go there as well. So again, rotation not overly impressive, but definitely want to pay attention to it as it comes on across. And again, the rain has been something here. Anywhere you see these dark red shaded areas, you're going to have a pretty good bit of rainfall coming down with all of this from Crawford on into southern Monroe. So we're talking about Bolingbroke eventually here all the way down. 475 is going to be drenched here in a little bit. So if you had plans on driving on that, I would say hold off, just because some of the visibility with these storms up toward Atlanta area is just almost zero. It's just so much heavy rain at one time, it's hard to see. Let's get into the bigger picture just to take a look and see what's back there toward the west. The watch boxes again are in red. So any red line you see, I don't want you to think that's a tornado warning, because that's what we're looking for, right? We're always looking for the yellow polygon says severe thunderstorm, the red one says tornado warning. And what we have is yellow, again with the wording tornado possible. This red, which I can take off the screen, is just the watch boxes. Of course, to refresh, watch means that we're watching for the possibility of tornadoes. It does not mean that one is happening. That would be a warning that it is happening at that moment. So took the watches off there. They're still going until 9 o'clock tonight. Again, no wording on if our eastern counties are going to get issued a watch, although there was a mesoscale discussion a little bit ago that I missed. And sometimes they will talk about, let's see what this says. It just says isolated severe threat spreading east. And see, that word is key, isolated. We're not looking at some sort of a massive severe weather event. Having said that, I mean, where it is isolated, if you're in that area, you don't like it, that's for sure. It's starting to spread more into the Macon area now. And again, that part that is in Crawford that was rotating some, just every time I look at it, I don't see a whole lot with it. I think regardless of that, you're still going to have some gusty winds for sure here with this as it comes through. So this would be kind of the bulk of the wind if there was anything rotating as you go 475. Here's Stratford, Middle Georgia State right here. So you can kind of give you an idea of where this is going to be popping up as it goes through, leaving Crawford. I think that's probably them canceling Crawford, I would imagine. No, that's for Chattahoochee, Marion, Muskogee. Although I think Crawford will be dropped from this warning here shortly because it's about to leave. I think what you're going to see for the remainder until 6:45, they may just leave it how it is, or they may carve this out, although I think it's still going to take some time to come over, so they may just leave it intact like this until 6:45. You hear the rain coming down here on the roof at the station now as it has made its way into East Macon now. And let's see, I've got the camera pointing west. Kind of a boring shot there. Let's see. Let's get this thing to spin. Put it on a preset, see where it goes. Should be looking more toward downtown, which we're not going to see anything other than a bunch of rain out there. So I know it's enough. It's upsetting to the stomach there. But there's the big picture. As you can see, the wet roadways out there now, and this will continue. Now that rain is here, flash of lightning, we're going to continue with this off and on through tonight. There may be breaks for a little bit. And then that second round tomorrow morning, which I'm hoping is going to be less of a threat if we can get more and more of this through tonight to work the atmosphere over. Again, just know how it's felt out there today. What I always call, it's got that kind of powder keg feel. It just has the feel of storms are coming, it's just muggy, and it's just got that kind of spring feel going on to it. If we can get some, it's still gonna, I mean, it's not gonna go bone dry out there, but maybe we could work some of this stuff out in the atmosphere. That would be great. Again, anything that could be rotating would be right there, kind of coming across through Lizella, Lake Tobosoffke in there, North Bibb. So most of the bulk of what would have been severe, or still could be, is mainly running at the top of this polygon now. Usually the polygons are drawn, you kind of take the center line and go out like this. This one's starting to lean a little bit more up this way. Let's do a check on velocity again. And again, broad, if anything at all. Right there. Again, nothing that is just screaming, this is a tornado, which is the reason there's not a tornado warning. It is a severe thunderstorm warning, tornado possible. So let's do the whole, I can't do the all clear thing like we normally can do, because we're still gonna, maybe later tonight we can do all clear for this round, but there's this, and then there's still stuff behind it here. But what I'm interested to see, and sometimes this happens, is you'll see all this. Notice how all this has been developing out ahead of this. And a lot of times this will rob that back line, and then this becomes the line, and then this starts to weaken down. I haven't seen that happen just yet, but as we get more and more development here in the front, then it'll start to wash things over, and sometimes this will weaken in coming down. So you may see kind of a leapfrog effect where the things will come in, wash things out, and change the atmosphere for this other stuff right here. So again, that severe thunderstorm warning for a little over 4 minutes still left here. Again, with the wording, tornado possible. Radar indicated, nothing says it was on the ground. I haven't seen any damage reports or anything like that. But just, again, do what you would do, whatever the family plan is. You know, here's where we would go. And let all the kids take their tablets and all that stuff, play some games, wait it out. And let's get it on through here. The only damage reports I've seen have been in places like Polk, Coweta County, areas like that, but nothing with any of the stuff we've seen coming across. All right. So let's check again, though. Again, you can kind of see a little bit of a dimple there. Doesn't mean things can't change. We couldn't see this thing start to spin up again, just not seeing it so much right now. So, you know, we hope for the best that, you know, maybe this will be one that's weakening down. But don't know for sure, you know, because this is the one that has had history of rotating back toward the west, and then it kind of broadens out and calms down a little bit, and then it's been starting to get its act back together here over the past 30 or 45 minutes. But right now, not a total loss of rotation. All this other stuff that you're seeing like coming through Barnesville, when you're starting to see things bow out like this, that's generally straight line winds right there. That is just going from calm to just bam, just like that. So you have a couple of different kind of thunderstorm activities going on tonight. Some that are straight lines, some that are rotating a little bit. And if you look at the whole picture, I kind of wonder if this is what's happening, is that this is going to become somewhat of a line. And again, that back part, this so far is holding together, but there's nothing been here to wash this area out. But maybe as it comes on in toward our area, where we've had some opportunity to kind of turn that atmosphere over, maybe the stuff back toward the south and west will calm down a little bit as well. Anything that's going to be the first thing in, and the farther toward the south you get with that inflow is going to be generally where you're going to have your tougher customers and seeing things rotate right through there with those little independent renegade cells, discrete cells, you've heard them called that too. So Jones County rain on up to Putnam, Baldwin, all this stuff outside of what's going on right here, leaving Crawford, going into Bibb County. None of this, since I can't answer all the questions about what about this place, what about this place, nowhere else are we having severe weather. And here, this warning is about to expire unless something changes in a minute and a half and then we get something else issued. But for the time being, it is the only warning. And again, there is velocity mode, looking for wind changing direction. That's what we're doing with these. And not seeing a whole lot there. And as we go farther out, all right, what is this? Expires severe thunderstorm warning for Bibb and Crawford. So that will fall off the map either on its own now, or it will wait until the technical 6:45 expiration. Doesn't matter now, it's been expired. All right, so now this is toast, this is history. So we now have no warnings in the whole central Georgia area for the time being. Hopefully it stays this way. This is just rain, a ton of that, rumbles of thunder, maybe some gusty winds with this, and there is the potential, isolated briefly, that there could be some moments where things spin up just a little bit. Of course, we'll keep an eye on it. We'll watch it like a hawk. I'll sit here watching every one of these cells back and forth, combing through them, looking through it, and of course through the chat room of the National Weather Service to see if anything pops up. And if we need to come back on here, we will, which we will be talking later on tonight anyway. I'll be giving you some updates. But as far as on air, if we start to see like red polygons, tornado warnings, or a bunch of these, then we'll go on do that. So anyway, for now, we're going to take a break, and I'll keep you updated as we go on through tonight.